Hello. Uh, sorry. I'm like, ah, oh my goodness, I've never done this before, and I'm a little nervous. So, yay, stream time. We're gonna do something fun, and I'm wearing my glasses. Personally, I think it's fun. Uh, but there will be some warnings beforehand, to go into it, just so we know, I guess. I know. I'm streaming. It's about the hi Clevo. It's about the thing that I sent yesterday. So it's related to Origins. It's related to Origins, right? But it's not like Origins lore. It's more Melo lore and me being really bored. Um if you know the show Game of Thrones, this is my setup. We're going into the setup for this. I'm gonna actually go to the live camera. Hi. It's me in person. This is a room I stream in. This is my room. Uh, but if you know, yeah, if so basically it's about Origins. It's about Melo, which is my character. Uh So I'm like really nervous for no reason. But basically, if you know Game of Thrones, we Game of Thrones is a book series and it's not a game show, that's really weird to say. It's a show on HBO Max. I got really into it after watching um this YouTuber I found on their full family tree. So I was like, this family's really messy. And it's the same kind of premise of you don't want to be at their Thanksgiving dinner kind of thing. So I was bored, really bored yesterday, and I was like, okay, let me do the same thing but for Mello for Origins, cause her family's a noble house. The family drama is crazy. I have two different family trees. I have a physical one over here that you can't see, so I'll be able to read it, and then I have one online because the one on paper is it's just regular notebook paper. It's not like my whiteboard right here, which I brought up from my basement and is being held up by a yoga mat and another corkboard. And a corkboard down here that I painted. Uh, but I have an online one. Ooh, I did not mean to hit my microphone. The one on paper is very close together, so it's hard to tell who's on what branch. So I have the full family tree, courtesy of Family Echo, because why not? And I was bored, and I'm doing this for the fun of the game, right? So that's the good fun. That's the fun part. Oh my goodness. Also, Xmas just posted a video on YouTube for Origins. So yay. But this is about a 12 generation family tree. um so take notes. This is definitely, and I'm sorry, I'm going to try to be my best to show this. But yeah, we have the 12 family generation tree. It spans about 500 years, doing, if I did the math correctly. Um, Part of the family tree, so Melo's from this town called Maple Crest, which is a city, but Maple Crest is around 200 years old. So you're getting a lot of Mellow lore today. So Maple Crest is 200 years old. This family's 12 generations. You can't fit 12 generations into 200 years. 12 generations is around 500 years. So we have pre Maple Crest and which I did the lore of this town that we start in is going to be like a more tropical place, which explains why Mello kind of has the same like genes that she does. There are some families in Maple Crest that are from that town, and when we get to oops, excuse me. When we get to why they left the town, it'll make a lot of sense why there's like families from that town that left and from Mello's house. But we have Melo's family. Melo's last name is Soleil, which is Soleil. Um, I have her house title. So like in Game of Thrones, they have like House Targaryen and that stuff. It's House Soleil. But it's also called the House of the Sun because they run like food and agricultural stuff. And then it also has another title of the Ancient House of Soleil. So there's definitely more before where we're starting, but the starting point in lore is like 500 years. And I was like, I could go farther back, but we're gonna say because of what happened to the old city that they originally lived in, they lost the records after of all the people before. So this is her first known ancestor, and we have multiple colors of like stuff, right? So we have black for the names. I'm gonna have this is kind of like a pinkish color. You can't really it's not really easy to see, but it's like magenta pink. I'm thinking this is gonna be like who's married to who, right? And then this is gonna be like family outside of like people who married in to the family, I guess. So we're gonna get into it now. Now that we know. Again, this has nothing to do with actual Origins lore that's going on in the season. This is just something I wanted to do for fun. I'm doing it for the love of the game. And cause I was like, let me just do world lore. So we're gonna do the main family tree, and then I'm gonna after that, and I'm gonna explain all the lore of like what goes down in this family because this family's kind of crazy. And then after that, we're gonna do. Wait, I'm gonna put this back on if I'm not writing it. After that, I think I'm gonna do the exact like way to get to Melo, through the family tree. So we're starting. This is a very tight space, by the way. I have my desk right in the corner of my room, right next to my bed, so I'm trying my best here. This is not by any means professional. Um, so the oldest ancestor we have, yay, world building, is I'm gonna try to have you guys be able to read this and fit everyone. This is, and also not knock this over. Victor Soleil. Can you read that? Yeah, you can read that. Yay! My handwriting's great, guys. So this is Victor Soleil. He is the oldest member of the family in like the written logs that would be in Melo's family home in Maple Crest. Victor Soleil marries has at the time, obviously this is like around 900. Think of like what the marital way was like back then. At the time, most likely you were marrying out of power. Victor did marry out of power, but he also married out of love. So, very nice. Good for him. He marries a. I want to be able to fit her name in. Augusta. Oh my gosh. I almost knocked this over. He marries Augusta Sallow, who changes her last name to Soleil. So I'm just gonna write that down here. So they get married. Yay. So here we go. It's kind of hard to tell the difference of colors, right? So they're married. They're having a lot of fun. They have 4 children. So like that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they have 4 children. 2 boys, 2 girls. We have Cassius, Soleil, Orvin, and Soleil, and Sarah. That's Saera, Soleil, and then Vidalia, Soleil. Ta-da! This is very crooked now that I'm looking at it, but it's okay. So, these are the children. Everything's okay. For kind of so far. So Augusta and Victor get married, right? To recap. Augusta and Victor get married. They have Cassius. And then 2 years later, they have Orvin and Sarah. Sadly, tragedy strikes already. And Orvin and Sarah don't survive infancy. So we already have 2 deaths. So, yeah. 2 years later, or 4 years later, they have Vidalia. Vidalia does survive. And both Vidalia and Cassius survive. Yay! They survive childhood, and now they're adults. So Vidalia and Cassius get married. Death count is 2 so far. So Vidalia gets married. As both get married for strategy. But it is like this is also fully popping out of my head as I go by the way. Both get married power reasons, to boost the power of the house, but also, Vidalia apparently loved her husband, Cecil. Oh, I'm using black, aren't I? This is gonna be hard to keep track of. And there we go. Cecil. Did I spell that right? Yeah, I did. And then Holloway. Cecil Holloway. And then Cassius marries another very powerful house. They didn't really like each other, which will make sense for how many children they have. Nisreen Starfell. Yay! So far, only 2 people are dead. So something also about the House of Soleil, they usually have one person running the full house. So far, the person in charge is Victor. Even though Cassius and Vidalia are married. He's still running because he's still alive. Woo. But they do need an heir to run after Victor. Because that's how it goes. Right? That's how it usually goes. Anyways, so Cassius and Nisreen have they have illegitimate children, which I don't want to put down because that will make the family tree a lot bigger than it needs to be. They have illegitimate children because they don't actually really like each other. Vidalia and Cecil do love each other and have 2 kids. Which they name Augusta Soleil after Vidalia's mother, and Lucius Soleil. At some point, I might have to erase this and rewrite this family tree. It's not as big as Game of Thrones, but you never know. Eventually, Cassius and Nisreen realize if we're gonna get the power in this house, we need to have a child. They have a son named Orvin after his late uncle. During this time, though, there's a war in their old town. How does last name when Melo pass on? it's the house name that gets passed on. Except for at one point, which will come later, it's like it'll make more sense later what happens with the house name, but usually it's the house name that gets passed on in this case because they're a powerful house, so their house names get passed on. Um, and also, most likely, Cecil has like other siblings that are gonna carry through the Holloway family, right? So he's fine in his family department. They're trying to build up power in this house, so um, it's the same thing in Game of Thrones. Is usually the house name gets passed on, or it's just they don't change their last name and the children get whichever house is more powerful. Um, I guess for this one they did. Starfell is a very powerful house too. I guess they just rolled the dice and chose, uh, Soleil in this case. Um, there will be some times where they're a little weird with it, but yeah. So at this point, there's a war that breaks out, and like any good war does, it kills people. So, sadly, because there's a war, Victor Soleil dies while fighting, and his title as head of the house gets passed down to Cassius because it's the eldest son and he's prepared most for the power. So now his heir is Orvin, and Vidalia is like, whatever, cool. Like, I have 2 children. I don't care, right? Like, she's like, I have a happy family. You're struggling with your wife. Augusta also sadly passes afterwards too because let's be honest, she had 2 children that died in infancy, and her husband, who's like her soulmate, just died, and she's like, I'm really sad. I'm gonna do the smart thing and pass away before I have to remarry. She's like, I don't want to remarry at all. So they've got some stuff going on. Plus more casualties. Yeah. So far, Augusta, Victor, Orvin, and Sarah are dead. Not this Orvin, this Orvin. Also it gets a little weird at some point with like the number thing. That's gonna have to be explained later, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But we have 4 people dead. So, RIP the 4 people. Get your popcorn because already we've got some tension going on. We've got already Vidalia and Cecil don't really like Nisreen, right? They're like, ew, you keep having illegitimate children. We only have one son. One legitimate son, right? So already we've got tension in the family. But it's that time again. They get married! Woo! Because Augusta and Lucius are older, they get married to two. They get married to people. I promise you there's no incest in this family. Trust. If there's any repeating names, it's usually very distant person in the same family tree. But Augusta gets married to Cyrus Sinclair. And Lucius gets married to Merwin. Oh my god, that name is long. Montclair. Yay! They get married. Also, because the war is still going on, and this. Ooh, did I do something wrong with that? No. Oh, yeah. So, because the war is going on, and that's up, there's still a war going on. Ugh, sad times. Cassius, Vidalia and Cecil were very supportive parents. They didn't really care what their children did as long as they got married. Yay. So Augusta went into the military. I think you know where this is going. Augusta went into the military and married a very powerful military family, Cyrus Sinclair. The Sinclair family, right? So they both die. R.I.P. Augusta and Cyrus, who die on the battlefield, and their bodies never returned. That's really dark. But yeah. They both die, and then we get into really family drama coming up next. Yeah. F RFP. So far we have 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 people dead. Sadly. But Orvin gets married. Oh my gosh. It's crazy. Orvin gets married. And he gets married. I keep hearing noises. I keep hearing like people talking. I'm a little concerned for my sanity, but I think it's okay. But he gets married. Y'all can see this right here. To Odessa. Heroin. And as the same goes as his parents, I'm gonna redraw the line to say that they're married. A little off base. As the same. Yes, you got this. As the same as his parents, as it goes, he gets married for political power. But it's not him who proposes. In fact, it's, oh my gosh, it's Odessa. Odessa proposes because the Fairwinds are still a powerful family, but they're minor, noble family. The Soleil are very powerful in this old city that they live in, right? She wants power as much as possible. Now the other thing is, this is where it gets very dramatic. So get your popcorn if you like popcorn. Get some snacks. This is why it's called tea time. We have Odessa Fairwind. Now, the Fairwinds have a very long-standing power struggle with their sister house, and when I mean sister house, I mean very, very, very distant cousins, split households, and create the Fairwinds and the Montclairs. They hate each other. So Odessa marries into this family, not knowing that her cousin-in-law is Merwin Montclair. She marries for power, and that's it. So she immediately is like, we need heirs. Because they've been married, Lucius has been mourning his sister and brother-in-law's death, so they haven't been doing anything. So they don't have any heirs. Odessa is like, well, you're gonna be the next person to run the household after Cassius. We need an heir. So she has an heir. And sadly, on her part, she wanted a male heir. Sadly, it's a girl. And Orvin decides to name her because Odessa's just really sad. Postpartum depression goes a long way, guys. But Orvin decides to name his child, his sole heir, after his late aunt, Sarah. So, we have a live Sarah Soleil. Yay! But at the same time, Lucius and Merwin have a heir. Oh my gosh. They have a son, which, in Odessa's mind, is horrible. How dare they have a son when she can only have females for some reason. Also, about Odessa, she is like the baddest person in the land, as in, she's crazy, she's psychotic. If you think of Harley Quinn, add the Joker to it, because that's Odessa. We've got a crazy family over here already. So she hates the Montclairs. They have a son, and they name him after his late uncle. This happens a lot in this family. So he names his son, Lucius names him Cyrus Soleil. Now, Odessa's mad. But Odessa is also really sad she didn't have a son first. So she and Orvin keep trying, but they can't have another child because she's already like old-ish, to the point where it's like in this time, which is probably at least the 1000s at this point, I don't really know how time works. At this point in time, she's too old to be having a child safely. So she just has to live with Sarah, being her sole heir. Now Sarah, this is the thing about Sarah. She hates her mom. And I'm only saying this because it creates more drama, but also because Sarah has never had Odessa as like a good mother. Odessa has always been like, oh, well, she can't be heir to this like powerful house. Excuse me. Mind you, there's no rules set in place in this ancient world that women can't rule a household or even a whole country. Women can rule, in my mind, that they're fine. There's no rule against it. It's just kind of precedent that men are ruling. Odessa, being the misogynist as a female that she is, hates that Sarah's female, and she kind of makes it known to Sarah too. So Sarah grows up being like, I don't like my mom. Sarah's like, I don't like that my mom wants a son because I should be enough for her, right? That's how it should work. So Sarah marries knowing how much her mom hates the Montclairs. She marries. This is where it gets crazy. We're gonna add a couple deaths now. She marries Henry Montclair. Now, the drama is real because I don't want to be at this type of family reunion. Imagine you're Cassius. You're like, okay. Cassius, Nasreen, Vidalia, and Cecil are still alive. Right? So this is the family sit down situation. He's like, Cassius is like, okay, well, I need to start going over who's going to be my actual heir because so far it's just precedent that it's going to be his son. But his son has a crazy wife. And Cassius, despite the name, if you know anything about Roman history, despite his name, he's not really for violence. And Odessa is from a very violent family, so he's like, well, people don't use fear to control people, right? Like that shouldn't be something that's going on, but it's something that's going on, I guess. Anyway, so he like imagine just sitting down at a table with these guys already, like just these guys. Like that's gonna be crazy, because it's your like I was Sarah, I would be like, or sorry, if I was Cyrus over here, I would be grabbing like just all the food. I would be like eating the food and staying quiet just to watch this show go down over here. Cause most likely what's happening is Cassius is yelling at Odessa to be quiet. Odessa's not paying attention because she's yelling at her husband for letting for having Orvin let Sarah marry Henry. My dog's about to jump on my bed right now, and I'm a little concerned because this could fall over. Bye, Penny. Oh my gosh. Whatever. Anyways, so this is crazy because they're just yelling at each other, and here's Vidalia, Cecil, Lucius, Merwin, and Cyrus all kind of like eating in silence, being like, okay, sure. They're these members of the family are the Switzerland of this family. They're the Switzerland in this situation. They're trying their best, honestly. But back on track. Odessa's mad at Sarah for marrying a Montclair, even though they're technically very distantly related. She's very mad at Sarah. So she does what any person in power would do. Penny, I swear if you jump on my bed and you crash this over, I'm gonna actually... Do you want to jump on my bed? Please don't jump on my pillow. 1 second. Pam? It didn't crash the set. Oh my goodness. Ha! Yay. Anyways. So, she does what any good mother would do. Obviously. As she is a great mother. She kills Henry. But doesn't tell Sarah that she killed Henry, right? So yay. But she kills Henry, so Henry's dead. And because it's a Montclair massacre, which is what I'm calling it, because there's also another Montclair in the family, she kills Merwin. So far, we have 8 deaths in the family. Odessa gets away with this too, I just want to say, because Odessa is very powerful as she's part of the Soleil family, right? So she gets servants to do it for her, and it was most likely poisoning. And it's like, yay. And it's like, yay, poisoning, woohoo. But anyways, Sarah has to remarry now because she didn't have any children with Henry. They were like chillin'. But Odessa killed Henry before Sarah had children with him. Just so she didn't have any of that like Montclair blood in her heirs. So she marries. And she marries to her mother's approval, Ambrose Holloway. And this is where it's gonna get weird with last names. Ambrose Holloway. So because of what oh yeah, and then Cyrus also marries. He marries a very distant cousin of like kind of like, well, not very distant, they're like closely related, but he marries another Sinclair. He marries Helena Sinclair. Because Augusta and Cyrus didn't have any children, I'd consider it's fine, and he's also so technically it's not incest because they never had children, so it's not like he's marrying into his own family. He's marrying Helena Sinclair, and she gets a nice life, right? They both get a nice life. At this point, sadly, both Cassius and Vidalia have died. Cecil dies of a broken heart, so we add 3 more people to the death toll after, what were we at, 8? So this is now 11 people dead. Sadly, Nisreen kind of is living her best life right now because her husband's dead. And she's like, well, I didn't really like my husband anyways. Oh my goodness. Give me a minute, guys. Anyways, oops. My mom called, so I had to answer that. Um, so we're back. Yay! Uh, Basically, recapping what's happened so far. We have 11 people dead. We have Augusta and Victor died because of war. I think. No, they might have been old. I don't know. I think I have them officially as dead from old age, and I just don't remember. uh, yeah, they died from old age or something like that. Orvin and Sarah died because of like they died in infancy. So yeah, they didn't really survive infanthood. Cassius died, and Vidalia died from old age. Cecil died from old age and a broken heart. Augusta and Cyrus died because they were in war, so war casualties. Merwin and Henry died because Odessa killed them. That's the only like hatred we've got so far. Um did I just mention that Cecil's dead? Oh yeah, Cecil died. Uh so far, I think that's it. So far that's 11 people. Our death count is 11. I might put that like up in the corner as like death count's 11 right now. Count 11. There we go. Oh right, okay. So Sarah has remarried to Ambrose Holloway, and Cyrus has finally married Helena Sinclair, which is essentially Cyrus's like cousin or something like that. Um, so they have children. Children. Sarah is the first to have a child. She has two sons with Ambrose, and here's a little fun name thing that's happened. I think we have enough space to fit everyone else in. If I do have to redraw, oops. But Sarah has two sons, Cassius and Henry. So both Sarah chooses to have Cassius and Henry have both surnames, but the first surname is technically the family they're a part of, so they're officially part of the Holloway family. So I'll just write down Holloway for them. But she's doing that because her mom killed the love of her life, which is Henry Montclair. And he's like, really? That's rude. How dare you do that? I'm gonna spite you. Sadly, Cassius does not survive infancy. So Cassius is dead. But Henry, which she names after her long lost lover, lives to adulthood. Henry. Oh my gosh, we're already off with the levels on this. Henry Holloway. Yeah, so we already have 12 people dead. Yay! So yeah. Helena and Cyrus have one daughter, which they name after her great grandmother, Vidalia. Right, Vidalia Soleil. So, reminder, last names are usually chosen. They have double last names. I'm not writing down Holloway Soleil because I don't feel like it. So they're just going as Holloway. It's because Sarah's spiting her grandma, Odessa, because Odessa killed Henry. And it's really funny that Odessa now has a son, or has a grandson named Henry. The backstabbing in this side of the family goes crazy. Ambrose is just here for it. Ambrose and Orvin are kind of chilling, although Orvin's a little pissed off at Odessa, but let's be honest, they don't really marry for love in this side of the family. Now, they also get married when the time comes. Henry, since Cassius is already dead, Henry marries, and so does Vidalia. I think I have it going this way for Vidalia. So we have more space to write over this way. Vidalia marries Odessa's young cousin, as in she's older than him by 2 years, and his name is Silas Darwin. Silas actually is kind of the black sheep of his family, so he doesn't care that Vidalia is technically a descendant of a Montclair. He doesn't care. He doesn't really even know why they hate each other. Odessa knows. Odessa knows why they hate each other, but Odessa is getting old. So she doesn't really care that Silas has married a descendant of Merwin Montclair. She's too old for this now. Anyways, she's too old, so she doesn't care. She's having a time having great-grandchildren, or grandchildren, and having them get married. So Henry kind of commits incest, but it's like very, very, very distant cousin. Other side, so it's like if there was 2 branches, this is where Nasreen is. Here's where his wife is, which is Mieli. Mieli. Mieli Starfell. They, like no one else in their family, on this side of the tree, love each other very, very much. Ooh, Sarah's name has also been accidentally erased. That was on my. Look, I have to write it back. It doesn't have to be pretty. The only person who would have married for love on this side of the family, not counting up here, we're just counting Cassius and his descendants, right? The only person who has married for love officially is Henry and Mieli, but it would have been Sarah and Henry if Henry hadn't died. The reason it's not counted officially is because Henry, like, it was like 3 months after the wedding. They kind of annexed that from the books. They literally probably have him scratched out somewhere. So, ooh, that's my foot. We're not showing that. Anyways, Mieli, they get married. Now, Vidalia and Silas have a daughter named Augusta. Because, of course, they do. Augusta, after Augusta Soleil, after her, oh my goodness, I keep accidentally showing my feet. After her great aunt, I can do that math. It might be great grand aunt. I don't know. Anyways, so they have Augusta Soleil. So far, since Cassius is dead up here. Oh yeah, Cassius died. I think I mentioned that. So Cassius died. R.I.P. Cassius. He's dead. Orvin had gotten the title, right? Orvin passed it to Cyrus, but then his mother died. Like, Cyrus was his heir. His mother died. So Orvin was like, I'm just gonna give it to Sarah. Because I'm gonna give it to Sarah's husband, which at the time was Henry. Odessa hated that. So that's also another reason that Henry's dead, is because he was the heir. And Odessa's like, no, it should be my child. So we've skipped a generation. Orvin's heir, I think Orvin might be dead. I'm not sure. But Orvin's heir is Henry Holloway, because Cassius died. So Cassius is dead too, which makes 12. So Henry and Mieli have to start having an heir, because their cousins, Vidalia and Silas, already have Augusta. Henry and Mieli try to have a son, because Odessa's still alive and she wants a son. Great, thank God she dies. But she dies after they have 3 children. So we're gonna add 14 here. They, in total, have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children. Only 1 lives. I'm joking. They have 4 girls, which they name Nisreen, Soleil, after Nisreen Starfelt. And then they have Cassia, Soleil. They have, and then, but they both die in infancy. So now we're up to 15 deaths. And also, they're like, why do we keep having girls? They have the twins, Mia and Ellie. So we're just kind of putting them together. Mia and Ellie. Soleil. Who do survive, but they're like chilling really close together. That's Mia and Ellie right here. I know I should be using like more of this space. This is a very big whiteboard, by the way. I have a ton of space over here that I could be using, but that I'm not. At some point, I will have to redraw this. And then they finally have their son, which they name Cassius. Cassius is also on the same branch as Augusta. Just want to give you that in mind. Let me actually check the digital one to make sure I'm not going crazy. Yes. Yeah. So these so far dead. We have a lot of dead people. We have 15 people dead. Yeah. Sadly, Sarah dies from illness, and Ambrose dies from a broken heart, which was never reciprocated in the first place. That's to 16. I think Lucius is also dead. Wait, if we were at 15, that's 16. Anyways, so Lucius is also dead, so that should be 17 if I'm doing the math right. Yeah. We have 17 people dead now. It's a long way from 6. But nevertheless, we continue on. Augusta gets married. We're moving this way on this side for some reason. Augusta gets married, and so does Cassius. Cassius gets married to Celeste Kingsley. And, oh my goodness. And Augusta gets married to Victor. Did I say Starfell? Yeah, Victor Starfell. Now, Augusta and Victor have children first, which carries on to this very weird tradition that I like to call changing names or adding numbers to your names. So, they have a son and a daughter. They have Victor the Second first, who dies in infancy. Oh my gosh. Yes, they are. I was like, oh my goodness, did I mess up? No, they are. It's just really hard to see. They are pink. They're different colors. This is their children. This is also their children. Oh, RIP me soon. So, 18 people dead. Yeah, yeah. It's like it's really hard to see. I had a purple one, and the purple one didn't. You know who isn't a different color is Victor over here. He's feeling special. I was just holding the black, and he's over here thinking he's special. Oh, his name needs to be written in red. Victor Starfell. He gets his son Victor II gets a number. Because don't worry, you made me realize something. I'm now on my knees because this is gonna be a lot easier. Don't say sorry. It's not your fault. It's my fault for forgetting what color they write in. So, Victor II is born. He dies in infancy. So we have 18 people, right? He also has a sister named. They start doing the thing of naming from descent of ancestors, and they name her Sarah. So Sarah survives. Yay! Sarah's alive. At this point, we're gonna get a lot more dead people because tragedy strikes, and I need to keep checking this. Augusta and Cassius are on the same level of the family tree. Yeah. So tragedy strikes this old town that they're in, that they've been in since this family was created and put in power, right? Tragedy strikes, and for some reason, everyone gets sick. And the only people who make it out are Cassius, Celeste, Augusta, Victor, Sarah, and Victor II. Well, Victor II's already dead, so he doesn't really make it out. But they all make it out and go to this woodland area that will be the home of Maple Crest. We are now in what I like to call the Maple Crest era. We have this much space on the whiteboard left. We're around 200 years out from Melo. So, this means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 people are dead. So clearly I've been off. I might have not been counting people. So there's now officially 27 people dead. You can't really see that number. But people die, guys. It's really bad. Anyways, in this new city, there's new people, so they're not really so they're not getting close to committing incest, which is great. Sarah marries someone from the new city, and we're gonna just write his name. She marries Elliot Winslow. They get married. Yay! Woo. Well, also, and he's like, okay, cool. Did I not write Celeste in a different color either? That's crazy. Anyways, Cassius gets married to Celeste. There we go. Celeste Kingsley, everybody. Now, they also have a child. This is on the same level as Sarah, their child. So imagine their child was here all along. He was also born. He was like one of the last people born in their old city before moving. They name him Rain because some people have to start being. What is it? Oh, original. Because they keep naming people after each other. Like in Game of Thrones. That wasn't. That was on purpose. I was like, I want Rain to be a name. It's just kind of cute, right? So Rain grows up in Maplecrest, and he marries someone from the old city. Listen, she's actually born in the new city. They're like 2 years apart. It's fine. But haha, the Montclairs strike back, and at this point, the feud's over. Of the Starfells and the Montclairs. They don't really care. Because at this point, most people don't remember. Odessa was the last person in her family to really truly care about a Montclair, right? Because they just hated each other. So Rain marries Alice Montclair. This is not. Never am I invoking incest into this. Henry died before they had children. So this is fine. It's very okay. We're not having incest in this family. Anyways, here we go. Sarah and Elliot have children. Surprise, surprise. I am also walking like how people pretend to walk right now. I'm walking like how people pretend to walk when they're doing Edna mode over here, just so I can be able to see everything. And so you guys can see everything. So they have 3 children. They have triplets. So very cute. But again, tragedy strikes. Because I guess they're just really full of tragedy. They named their first daughter Joan. Ooh, that's supposed to be an S. Soleil. And then they name the son Polites. Because of course we gotta get some Greek in here. Polites, and then their last child, Cassia. Which is like the female version of ta-da, female version of Cassius, right? Tragedy strikes and something was going on in that nursery. There's no official record of whatever was going on in that cursed nursery. But Sarah realizes something might be wrong and takes out Cassia before anything can happen to her. Because Joan and Polites are sick and they don't survive infancy. There is now 29 people dead. My 2 looks really weird, but I'm going to leave it there. Oh my goodness. Alice and Rain have 1 daughter. I might have to redraw this side of the family because this is going. Wah. They have 1 daughter. They name her while also being original because that's just a new trend. Oh my gosh, I should. That would be really smart. I'll do that at some point. So far, dead, 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 dead. She killed Henry. She killed Merwin. Lucius died. Dead, dead. He died of a broken heart in old age. Dead, 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 dead. Sarah died. Ambrose died. Cassius died in infancy. Henry's dead. Miele died. They died in infancy. This is Cassia. They both died. Ta-da! Oh yeah, Victor's also dead. He died in infancy too. Augusta dies because she's old, and Victor dies of a broken heart. R.I.P. It's 31 people dead. Oh, that's just a really bad free. I should redraw that shit there. There we go. 31 people are dead. This is really sad. Anyways, back to having children. So, Alice and Rain have a daughter named Alea. They spell it to be original. Alea Soleil. Aleyaah. Because they're original. Oh, right. Joan and Polly's T's are also dead. Anyways. We don't care about who has the crown now for this house. It doesn't really matter. What is going on at my neighbor's house? I'm being nosy right now. Cassia marries. Cassia marries a new person, and Alea also marries a new person, I think. No, Alea marries an old house. Alea marries Augusta. This Augusta, the original Augusta, remember her last name was Sallow. So Alea marries what's his name? Orpheus. Orpheus Sallow. That's Orpheus. Yay! We finally got I hate using our reference. Cassia marries Helios Volkov. I think they have 2 children. We get back into family drama now at some point, but Cassia and Helios have a daughter, and they name her Freya. Freya, Soleil. Yay. This is a very big family tree. Alea and Orpheus. Oh my god. I don't think we're gonna fit. I might have to redraw this at some point. They have 2 children. Hattie. No, let's be original, guys. And Emrys. I'm just gonna put. That's not it. Yay! At this point, Cassius, Celeste, and yeah, Cassius and Celeste are dead. So that's 33 people dead. R.I.P. They just all keep dying of old age. Oh no. How sad. Anyways. They just keep dying of old age and it's like, oh, I'm like, what happened? And they're like, I don't know. We have Raya gets married, Emrys gets married, and so does Hattie. We're getting close. No. Hattie marries another Lucius Hartwin. And Emrys marries. Oh, that should be red. Anyways, I need to remember now. I'm making this. Hattie marries Lucius Hartwin. And Emrys marries Valerie Hawthorne. Hawthorne. With an E because I want to be fancy. Freya marries Damien. I don't know his original last name. We'll look it up. His name is also gonna be intelligible. Let's see. Damien, what was your last name? Damien. Really? Okay. Well, that's so helpful. Anyways, so she marries Damien. He takes her last name. I don't know. He's just different. He wanted to be different this time. Okay. Let's go over here, because this will be a lot simpler. Alice, or sorry, whew, Hattie, Hattie and Lucius have 2 children, and sadly, they die in infancy. Their names are Henry and Alice. Alice and Rain also have died at this point. So that makes that 35 people dead. Oh yeah, Sarah and Elliot also have died. I don't know why I didn't have them dead before. That's weird. Yeah, they've died too, so that makes that 37 actually. I should be keeping up with this. But anyways. This is where it's like I need to redraw the family tree because there's a little more after this and we're already down here. I don't have space. So I'm gonna have to redraw the family tree a little bit. I might just we'll just soldier on for now. Emrys and Valerie have a daughter and name her Callista. Soleil. And because we're getting really close, so I'm trying my best here. Sadly, Leia and Orpheus and Hattie have died because they're dead too. And Lucius dies of a broken heart. So 37 plus 4 is 41, I think. Yeah, I'm doing math, guys. This is the first time in a while I've done math. Freya and Damien also have children. All you guys are seeing is the top of my head right now, and I'm really sorry about that, but I don't have a professional setup in my basement. So this would have been streamed on my iPad. Anyways, we're getting back into family drama. Soon. Promise. Freya has triplets. I'm drawing this like this because it'll be much easier. It goes Helena, and then Orvin, and then Odessa. I'll have Soleil as the last name. Sadly, Freya dies in childbirth, and Cassia and Helios die because they're old. Oh, and Helena and Orvin are dead too because they don't survive infancy. That's 3, 4, 5, 46 people are dead. This is perfectly professional. So yeah, this is what happened. Surprise, surprise. Now, Callista has also married. Callista has married a man. Surprise. Callista, I think you guys can see this. Yeah, you guys can see this. Callista marries a man. Whoa, crazy. Named Regulus. Regulus. Knox. I'm drawing it diagonal because I need space. And then Odessa also marries a guy. We're not there yet. Odessa's very young. They're like at least 15 years apart. So we're gonna go for Callista's children first. Callista has one child. Because they're smart about protection. No, I'm joking. They have one child, and her name is Sibylla. Soleil. This might fit! Yay. Sibylla is also a lot older than Odessa. Odessa should be on the same level of Sibylla, but she's not for some reason, and I don't know why. I might have messed up here. Anyways, Sibylla is a lot older. They're probably like, I want to say I messed up the age of how many years apart Callista and Odessa are. They're most likely at least 20 years apart from each other. Which is why Freya died in childbirth, is because Freya was like a very old woman in medieval times to be having 3 children at once. So, yay. Odessa's still a baby when Sibylla gets married. Which is really sad considering her dad and parents are dead. And like everyone on her family tree, on this side of the family tree, is dead at this point. So, depression. So Sibylla marries another fancy name named guy named Adelius Knox. Really? No, Volkov. I was like, I'm looking at the wrong person. Volkov. They have a son! And we know where we are now. But before they manage to have a son, Odessa is able to get married. And she marries Sammy. Spelled. Oh, that's the wrong color. I've always wanted to say Sammy like that, by the way, since Sinners came out. So, Sammy Hartwin. Odessa and Sammy have children. Before Sibylla is able to give birth, they have 5 children back to back. 9 months apart. They're very much Irish, like, quintuplets. So, we have got, oh my goodness, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have Neoma, Soleil, Adonis, not pronouncing that correct, Calliope, I'm gonna put down here, Nolan, because he's special, I guess, and Sarah, the last Sarah, but Sibylla has a child. This sounds really weird, me saying it like that. Sibylla has a child. I'm writing it right here. His name is Lucian Soleil. He gets married. Clara, you might know what happens to his wife. He gets married to a Miss Valerie Cade, who takes the name of Soleil. We're writing her as Valerie Cade. Now, what happens before they get married, though? Or sorry, not before they get married. Before they can have children, something bad happens. There's some family drama going on. Odessa is channeling Odessa from up here for some reason. I'm not even kidding. She was like, I'm gonna be the rudest person at this family dinner because there's gonna be people at this family dinner. So Odessa mocks Callista. Or no, Odessa mocks Valerie because Valerie was rude to Freya when she was alive. Valerie then tortures and kills Valerie then dies from being mocked for some reason. She was ill. Some people say that was Odessa's doing. Valerie dies. Emrys dies of a broken heart. So now it's just Regulus, Callista, Sibylla, Aedalis, and Lucian. Valerie was also old. So yeah. That adds 2 people to the list. Yeah. 47, 48, 49. We're just writing 49. Hoping that's gonna be correct. Anyways. Callista's really mad. But can't do anything. Because this is a very distant cousin. So Callista, being old as she is, she drinks the same thing that Valerie and Emrys drank before they died. So Callista's now dead. And Regulus is also mad. But he can't do anything. So he dies that night under mysterious circumstances. Because right now, we're going back to who has the power in this house. Odessa's running the house right now. Odessa is running all of the House of Soleil. So if they did something to Odessa, they would be thrown in jail. Well, Sibylla is Odessa's heir. Because Odessa doesn't trust any of her children. Sibylla can do something. Sibylla has power from Aedalis' family and her seat in her own family. She's set for life being the heir of this whole family. She has an heir, too. And Odessa doesn't like that she has an heir. Odessa gives Lucian a gift, but Sibylla intercepts it and finds it to be a seemingly fine dagger. Now the thing is, when I say seemingly fine, it was poison. It was a poisonous dagger. She tells Lucian that his relative Odessa, who is the head of the household right now, this whole house is under a murdering person who has murdered so far 4 people. To be fair, 2 of them by his choice. And she tried to take out Lucian. Well, Valerie's mad. Sibylla's mad, and so is Aedalis. Aedalis, I keep saying his name weirdly. I know, I think I've mispronounced his name 15 times. Aedalis and Valerie come up with a plan. Because they're very smart. Their family is from different parts of the city. They're very smart. Aedalis' family is actually from the capital and helps run the government, runs the council. Valerie's family is more on the military side, but kind of leaning towards entertainment. Anyways, they tell Sibylla usually what happens is there would be a trial for Odessa. But they could get around it because Aedalis' family is so powerful, and technically Sibylla is part of that family. So my dear friend, this is what happens. This is the story of how they only end up with this side of the family being alive. Sibylla sends back the dagger to Odessa with a note saying, "Meet me," saying, "How dare you? What the heck? This was poisoned. My son is dead." Now, in official records, Lucian was still alive. He was hiding out in Valerie's family's ancestral home, like a couple meters away, like a couple streets away from Odessa's home, by the way. So Odessa could have very well walked to Lucian's house and knocked on the door and been like, yo, is Lucian here? Is he still alive? But Odessa's not that smart. So see, she's more worried on her about like what's going on in her family right now. So, but meanwhile, Odessa's like, okay, great. If Lucian was stabbed, and Sibylla says she's not going to do anything about it because she really doesn't want to jeopardize the position she has, in the family. She like I can sleep easy, right? So she goes to bed. Sammy goes to bed. Neoma goes to bed. Idonis goes to bed. Calliope, Nolan, and Sarah all go to bed. They're all going to bed. They're all sleeping. Oh. Neoma wakes up in the middle of the night, and there's someone in her house. In this house. The same house that Lucian and Valerie live in with them. This house is very big. It's a mansion. There's different wings. There's this family's wing and this family's wing. So there's someone in this wing that shouldn't be in there. It's not enough the guards. No one. Neoma realizes that this might be a danger. And before the arrow can even be like pulled out and shot at her, she starts screaming for help from any guards, but there's no guards in the house tonight. For some reason, there's no one guarding the family that is running this household, this very prominent household. So Neoma is shot dead, and her scream wakes up Adonis. Adonis comes out of his room and is dead. Both of their heads were reportedly, also this is coming out of my brain right now, reportedly both of their heads were in fact cut off and thrown at their two sleeping parents, Odessa and Sammy, who screamed in horror at the sight of their two oldest children's heads, decapitated heads. At this point, Odessa and Sammy are now dead because the assassins were in the room. The assassins also managed to get Nolan and Sarah, but they don't get Calliope because Sarah manages to hide Calliope in a secret wall that hides them. Like it's like like in Anastasia, the movie from 1990, the wall opens and they have a secret passageway. They definitely have those for servants in this house. So Calliope goes in there and she hides. But she can hear as Nolan and Sarah are brutally murdered in their own home. So Calliope goes insane. And on the order of her family member, Sibylla, who she doesn't even know sent these assassins, by the way, she is sent to a insane asylum. Calliope is killed there by an assassin hired by Sibylla. Because of this, Sibylla is thrown in jail. Lucian had no knowledge, and also Adalis is killed. Sibylla dies in jail. So far, the only people alive are Valerie and Lucian. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 people dead. So 60 deaths. This is Melo's family, guys. They're very murderous. Anyways, Lucian and Valerie have children. They have. How many children do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 children! Can we fit them all in here? We're not putting their last name. They have, say it with me, Melo, no, I'm joking. They have Lucian the second, Valerie the second, Damien Sibylla, who does add a number to her name. The second, Melo, Leo, and Cordelia, whose name is not going. Wait, let me see. Can I fit her name? Cordelia. We made it to Melo! She's all the way down here. Now, we still have something to go through. Obviously, there is a war that starts. That's the premise of Origins, that there's a war going on in the background. The war reaches their home. Wow! W. Yes, so, in this murderous family, we finally have someone who dies from a war again, and it's Valerie. The final death count comes to 61 people. Melo is also technically in their family records considered dead. She is dead to the family because she is a witch. How witchcraft works, how I made witchcraft work, because, you know, we get to detail our origin. How I made the witchcraft work is that it's genetic. Never in this story of this family tree have I mentioned that this is that any of them are witches, because this is a full family of humans. They're killing each other. They don't need witchcraft theoretically killing people, right? That just only happened to Melo because Valerie was a witch, her mother, who goes by I don't know. I think she goes by Aerie, I think. So Lucian, theoretically, as in he just kind of X's her off the logbook, kills Melo, and Melo's like theoretically dead. So they technically have 62 people dead in the family, but Melo's still alive because I play Melo. So, final death count. I've been yapping for a while. Guys, I wonder what happens to their family. Their family doesn't die in the war, actually. They're all still technically alive. It's just the mom and her family that die in the war, but that's like, I didn't want to go into the family of the Cade. 61.5 deaths are the official total, yeah. I didn't ever intend this to happen. I really actually wanted Melo to be a direct descendant of Vidalia, because I love Vidalia, because she was a chill person. But no, she gets to be a descendant of Odessa, who killed her daughter's husband and her her cousin, or her niece, her nephew's wife. Oops, my bad. So that's, yeah, so how you get to Melo through this family tree. I'm standing up for this because my knees hurt. You can't really sit on your knees without it hurting, right? So, yeah, so that's what the mom does. So, this is how we get to Melo. From Victor Soleil down to Melo. We have Victor, he married Augusta, and he has his oldest son, Cassius. We're gonna ignore, he has four other children. Cassius marries Nisirin Starfell, and they have one son, Orvin Soleil. Orvin Soleil marries Odessa Fairwind, and they have a daughter named Sarah. Sarah marries Ambrose Holloway, and they have two children who are not officially part of the family, but they're on the family tree because it makes sense. They are officially part of the Holloway family because Sarah hates Odessa. Because Odessa killed her first husband, Henry, who is the love of her life. Anyways, one of the children Sarah has is Henry Holloway. Henry marries Miele. Miele has 5 children. The last one is Cassius Soleil. He's the only one we really have to worry about. He's the one that got the family into Maplecrest. So Cassius marries Celeste Kingsley. They have Rain Soleil together, and Rain marries Alice Montclair. The divide between Montclairs and Fairwinds don't really matter now. Rain and Alice have a daughter named Alea Soleil, who marries Orpheus Sala, and they have 2 children, Hattie and Emrys. Hattie doesn't matter because her family gets wiped out anyways, because she dies in childbirth, and both of her children die in infancy. The dad dies of a broken heart, which is Lucius Hartwin. Emery's marries Valerie Hawthorne. They have a daughter named Callista, who marries Regulus Knox, who has a child named Sibylla, who is a murderer. And Sibylla marries Idalis Volkov. They have a son, Lucian, and Lucian marries Valerie. They have 7 children: Lucian the second, Valerie the second, Damien, Sibylla the second, Melo, and then Leo and Cordelia. And that's how we get to Melo. 500 years of lore. But yeah, so during the war, during a raid, Valerie dies. So Melo watches it happen. So Melo's very traumatized from that. Melo watches Valerie die. Her family thinks she was kidnapped by the war at the time. But that doesn't happen. So they just find her covered in her mother's blood. We did it! This is a really big family tree. But I love them so much. They're my favorite family. Yeah, I came up with all of this like yesterday, and I was like, it would be so funny. Because there's a YouTuber that I love. She goes over the whole history of the Targaryen family, and there's so much more betrayal. But I wanted this to kind of mirror the Targaryens in a way, kind of, except for the fact that there's no incest. No incest. Yeah, this came up yesterday. I was really bored. I was like, oh, yesterday. I was really bored. This all came up to in my mind. And then some details, like who killed who, got muddied because I didn't really write it down on. I have it all in a family tree. I didn't really write it down who killed who. So I'm not sure if like originally I had Sibylla kill all of them, but yeah, we have. It's really funny. Melo heard from her dad about Sibylla torturing Calliope in jail. So and then going to jail for it. So she doesn't really like what Joe did because her own family did that to her own family members. So yeah, but we've got the death count of 61.5. So there's more before Victor, as there always is, but I did not want to go that far back. I was like, Victor's gonna be far back enough. So yay! I think I'm gonna erase this now. Some way, shape, or form. I almost hit my dog with the corkboard. Henny, I'm so sorry. Guys, it took me like 15 minutes to set this whole thing up. This is the whole family tree. Oh my goodness. We have... This is what I do when I'm bored. I do this and then I play a video game. I wonder if I can erase correctly. Yeah, this is a fun thing to do. I was like, oh, can't wait to explain. My mom knows about it too. So, I was telling her about it and she was like, wow, that seems really fun. I'm like, yeah, the gossip would be crazy. That's why I called the stream tea time, because there's so much craziness going on in this family. Erasing the white. Weird. I honestly kind of want to keep the whiteboard in my room. I don't want to bring this all the way downstairs to the basement. But that's how it goes. Ta-da! I like to create a lot of lore around my characters, so this wasn't out of character for me. I know. There we go. There's the whole whiteboard clean. But yeah, it's a lot of lore, and it's a lot of fun to create. I like doing a lot of crazy lore. We need a Soleil. It would be so fun because the top of the iceberg would just be Melo, and then the rest of it is like all the murders and family drama of the old family tree, that like family part that they were in, like area that they were in. It would be so fun to do a stream on that. Like, just, I know. I was sad when I was carrying that too. I was like, there's no way Calliope would get married after that. Because it's like, at that point, you get tortured. Watch your whole family die, like Anastasia style. And then it's like, oh yeah, I get married. It's like, yeah, I get married. It's fine. No, you don't. Like, that's not how. No, you don't. Like, Sybilla is like so power hungry. She is like, I've said this before, I'll say this again. Sybilla and Calliope's mom, Odessa, are channeling the Odessa from back in like the beginning of the family. They're like, we're gonna be ruthless killers. And then it's like, and then you get Melo, and she's like, I don't like death. She's like, I don't like people dying. And it's like, they're there. I would do a tier list. She was, yeah, they were just like Lady Macbeth. They're like, we really want power. And Melo's like, I don't know. Well, actually, the closest person to Lady Macbeth would be Calliope, except without her killing anyone, because she goes insane after she kills people. But it would be fun to do a tier list of all the people that, like, just based off of how cool their story is or how cool their life is. That would be really fun to do. I honestly could do that now if I wanted to, because I just don't have anything to do. I'm like, oh, we've done the family tree. There's so many people. I don't even know how I would rank the family. Murder tier list. Yeah. I mean, I could do that, honestly. I think that would be fun. I'm like, I don't have anything else to do. I don't want to hold you from lore, because you have lore to do, don't you? I'm like, I don't want to stop you guys. I'm like, oh, I love this family so much. Mainly because they have so much drama, and I'm like, the gossip. Guys, the gossip of the servants must be hot tea. Like, they've like witnessed it all. They get unfiltered access to all this family drama. Honestly. Um yeah, I might do a murderer tier list. That would be fun. Murder. Hada. um I think it's what it goes S rank and then A. It goes C D F, I think. Oh, I don't know how tier list goes. Let me look up a tier list. Chart. Tier maker. Let's see. Oh my gosh, you can do Genshin character. S A B C D. Okay. This tier list is gonna have to be a lot smaller. A lot bigger. There's gonna be so many characters in D because of how this murder tier list is more like how eventful was your life tier list. Cause why not? Like, we're here for it. I would say, yeah, starting at the beginning. I guess I don't know. I'm just having fun. Augusta and Victor didn't really live an eventful life. I'd say dying by probably. I think they died by old age and war. Yeah. Alright, bye. I think dying by old age and war most likely is is like the easiest way to go out in this family. So I'm gonna have them be. I kind of want them to be C rank because they haven't done anything. I mean, they're like the starters, so they gotta have like some crazy drama. But C tier is Augusta and Victor. Augusta and Victor. I think under them in D is gonna be their children that died in infancy, which is Orban and Sarah. Oh my goodness, Penny. Yeah, this is being hard to hold up. There's my dog. She's adorable. Penny. What I'm gonna have. Oh, this is gonna be a great tier list, guys. I'm holding it like this from now on. Oh, people are doing our lawn. Anyways. We've got this. This is gonna be really hard to see. For most people. No! This is why I don't do shit on my bed. Sorry, I just cursed. Fuck. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, I need to... 1 second. We'll be right back. Oh God. What would you use for this? Water. I just got... Oh my goodness. Please come out. No, it's doing nothing. Great. Honestly, tier list is crazy. I'm just... I'm gonna cover the end of my bed up with a blanket that I don't really care about. I'm trying my best over here. This is why I should have just done this in the basement on my phone. Oh my gosh. Okay. It's the best we're gonna get. We have this here. Penny. It is only 2:31. I can't go outside anymore, Penny. Okay. Go back onto the bed, Penny, if you want. God, why did you follow me? Anyways. Ta-da! We've got 2 people. So, I want to add, I think also on the bottom, I'm going to have Vidalia and Cecil. Because I'm doing them in pairs of like who died with who. Because they didn't really have like a crazy life. They didn't really kill anyone. Oh my goodness. This is why you have a wall downstairs that this is supposed to go on. And you don't to do this. Ta-da! How big is my dog? We've got Fidelia and Cecil. I think the higher tier on C would also be their Vidalia's daughter Augusta and Cyrus. Cyrus. Because they like fought in the war, right? They were like, oh, we're gonna fight in a war. Lucius and Merwin. Yeah, I think obviously S tier is Odessa. Odessa, Fairwind. Let's be honest. She killed her family. She killed her Lucius's wife. And so like we're putting Lucius and what is it, Merwin? His name never gets used again. Merwin down here. The reason D is such a large class is because most people don't live long. And I'm adding Henry Montclair down here too. Surprise, surprise. I think everyone, Ambrose, Sarah, I'm gonna put B tier. Sarah. Or when I'm also playing C tier or D tier. Sorry, B tier. I'm so sorry. I can't think of letters. And Sarah and Orvin. Because they went against Odessa, who is queen. She is queen. She's taking the crown for what she did. No, actually, I think that would be Sybilla, which I'm gonna actually already put up here. Sybilla, the cold-hearted murderer. Oh my goodness, Sybilla. She gets the crown for being the worst person in this family. Oh my gosh. And I think I'm gonna put up Odessa next to her. Like, I know S tier and A tier aren't gonna have a lot of people in it. I think the next person to go under them? Gosh, who would it be? Maybe I'm gonna put Calliope in A tier because I feel bad for her. She had a lot of lore. She had potential. Calliope. Nisreen, which is Henry Holloway and Miele's child. Nisreen, Cassia, Mia, and Ellie on D tier. Just cause I'm just jumping around people like as I remember their life. Just that they didn't really do much, right? I want to say C tier gets another person, which is Cassius and Celeste, right? No, yeah, Cassius. Celeste. They're kind of like the big reason for why Melo's from where they're from, because they moved away from their old town, right? I want to put Henry and Miele in D tier. Or in D tier. Sadly, they didn't really do much. They kind of died. Same with Cassius. His sibling, Cassius Holloway. I'm gonna put in D tier B tier, I'm playing Melo in because very much. I'm playing Melo and her older sister, Valerie the second. Because one, Melo is a witch and also the main character of the story, so she's best. Um, but also she's not really done much in her life except for run away from her family. But also Valerie, because Valerie's like amazing. She's a great person, but she's such good to carry on the legacy of being a horrible person. And when I mean that, I mean she legitimately was the only person to visit Melo in jail because Melo was in jail and like starved of food and whatnot and that stuff. And Valerie the second visited her. I was like, "It's your fault that mom's dead. It's your fault that you're a witch. It's your fault that you were the person who got the witch powers." And Melo shoots back with, "Hey, aren't you pregnant? Like, don't you have or don't you aren't you pregnant and that's why you're getting married early?" Like, she pulls the like Natiri of, "I may forget you're pregnant. Be careful, Sahik, or I may forget you are with child." And she's like, "Hey, aren't you pregnant? Hey, aren't you pregnant? Don't you have a son on the way and that's why you're getting married to this guy that you don't want to get married to? Isn't that the whole reason that you're getting married, right? Um, what if that child's a witch? Because it's not gonna be my child unless it is my child, but hey, you might have the chance of your child having the same powers as me, and you won't have me as a resource like you don't have mom." And it's like, oh, she pulls the ultimate card. I love Melo, but Valerie really inside her and was like, "Dude, you're dead to this family, you're dead to me, you're dead to everyone around you because you've done all this horrible stuff." And she's like, "Well, I haven't done anything. Like, I don't know what you're talking about." Um, I'm gonna put, so that's why they're there. I wanna put, um, Neoma, Adonis, Nolan, and Sarah, low. I wanna put them here. I wanna put their Odessa's already here. Right, Odessa's here. You know what I'm gonna put her husband, Sammy Hartwin here. You know why I'm putting Sammy Hartwin here? It's because he did nothing to stop his wife. He was the supportive husband. And this is the problem. He created a murderer. That's so rude to say, but he legitimately caused the downfall of his own side of his family. So, what is it? Neoma, Adonis, Nolan, and Sarah. Honestly, I think it would be really cool if I wrote something on Neoma, Adonis, Calliope, Nolan, and Sarah getting murdered. Or at least Valerie watching it all go down. Valerie Cade, her mother, Melo's mother. Actually, I might put Valerie with Calliope because she didn't deserve her death. Like Valerie, Cade, Soleil. Valerie did not deserve her death. I'm looking at you, Clubbo. It's so rude. I'm pulling into this family's hatred. It wasn't Clubbo's fault. Don't be mad at Clubbo, but top tier mother over here. I wanna put Helena Sinclair, who had Vidalia. So I'm gonna put her in B tier, even though she didn't do much. She let her name be like so powerful. She was like, "I'm just gonna live here, protect, and be like, have fun." I don't know. I think she would be cute. But she didn't really do much, so I'm gonna have, actually, I might put, I'm really sorry, Helena. You and both Helenas go down here. I'm not even putting a last name. It's just all the Helenas on this are gonna be in this area. Um, that's a fair win. I kind of want to have. I'm gonna put. Well, we already have this one, so I guess this kind of covers most people. This covers people who kind of like matter to the story of this family. I just think. You know what? I'm adding Callista. She's going in F tier. We're making a whole tier for Callista. I'm gonna have to. Callista? You know why Callista sucks? You know why she's down here? Oh my god, I wrote that diagonally. She's down here because she let her daughter, Sybilla, be the rudest person in the world. She was like, yeah, my daughter sucks. But I'm not gonna do anything about it. Like, seriously, girl? Seriously? Anyways, I'm gonna end the stream here because that was a like good fun time. I don't really have anything more to say. I think I definitely want to go with the idea that Kobo gave, where it was like, oh, we need the iceberg deep dive, and I think that would be so fun to do. But I need like time to do that, so I'm gonna plan that out and figure out a day when I can do that next week. Hope most likely it's gonna be Wednesday because I have the house to myself. No, because I can just talk and whatnot and have fun. But I think most likely I'm gonna do that next week, Wednesday, so we can have like some time. And that'll most likely be the last stream I do before going on vacation. I'm gonna have a stream on Sunday, for Origins lore. So look out for that. And yeah, woo, fun times. If you liked this stream, I'm gonna do more. I want to do a lot on Melo's family because usually what you only ever see for an SMP is what's going on at the time. Like the time of the SMP. I wanted to do a backstory. So of like her whole family. So I think that would be really fun to like have like a series of that happening too. If you did miss this stream, don't worry, you're watching it on YouTube. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Have a good afternoon, have a good day. I will see you on Saturday. Bye.